A special announcement. KORRACAST is moving to all analog. We're going to be strictly VHS now. And you'll be able to find it at Kmart.
The soundtracks are only going to be available on vinyl and Betamax.
The viewers will have no idea what any of those words are.
Welcome back, guys, to another episode of KORRACAST. Today we're going to be reviewing Episode 8 of Book 3, The Terror Within.
So, a lot happened in the Korra fandom in the last couple days. We are going to address that after our review of the episode. So stick around and we'll give you our exclusive thoughts on the...
Exclusive thoughts!
Straight from the
You can only get it here, folks.
If you ask us in public, we'll punch you.
Okay, so a lot happened in this episode, but I want to talk about Sue, okay? Because that ending... I mean, that episode was like a who do we trust? Who's the bad guy? Who's the good guy? Who's in on it?
I think they did a good job of leaving it open enough that it cannot be Sue, which I hope it's not, because I think the last couple episodes it built such a strong, like, you're so happy when they kind of resolved it with Lynn, that for then it to go back, it's even more, going to be so much more heartbreaking when that happens, which is essentially a good reason for her to be in on it in terms of storytelling. But they've also shown, like, okay, she when he Pie-Wei, or is it Pie-Wei? Is that his name?
Pee-wee. That's a restaurant.
Pee-wee.
Pee-wee's a restaurant.
When Pee-wee interrogated Lynn, Sue, that totally makes sense that she could be. Oh, look, come investigate me.
Right.
So it could go either way, and I think they did a good job of kind of setting that up.
You know what I was expecting was going to happen with this plot is, okay, so we've been betrayed by someone who works in the city. I was expecting Lynn to get super pissed at Sue, like because a couple episodes ago, Lynn was she had the whole like, why do you trust criminals? Like, nobody deserves it. No, but everyone deserves a second chance. And I was expecting her to fly off and be like, Sue, this is what I was talking about. So right after it's discovered that her trusted advisor was the traitor, and she has that look of disappointment on her eyes, Lynn comforted her. I was not expecting that.
Yeah, I thought that was a big one for her.
That adds to the fact that if Sue actually is the mastermind behind it, it's going to be even worse.
It's going to be worse. The other thing, too, is that I think, let's say she's not, let's say she's completely innocent, it's still going to suck because essentially she's betraying Lynn anyway. When she's like, here, take the key, go. I just was lying to her.
Yeah.
So either way, it's going to be, their relationship isn't going to be like, anyway.
It's just going to matter of like, how broken is it going to be at this point? A little bit? Or like, okay, no, we can't repair this now.
Yeah.
And I think that ending was cool too because either one of two things are happening. Either Sue is the bad guy, or we're seeing streaks of her rebellious side from when she was younger. She still has that rebellious nature, and she's kind of like, well, I'm not going to go after him, but like, yeah, Korra, you and your teenage friends, like, go get him.
But it also kind of goes towards, so what's the greater plot is here? Because if she's on it, and Pee-wee's in on it, it's like, one, it speaks like it's more than just these four people, which we kind of knew already, but we hadn't really seen anyone else until now. Like, oh, here's another member who's working with them.
Yeah, when he closes the blast door and says that you guys have no idea what's coming for you, Avatar, I'm like, man, how deep does this go?
Yeah.
That was my thought there.
And so it goes to, so we have people could theorize what it's about, but I think it's really cool that the bad guys, they had the initial victory of them all getting free at the beginning, but since then they really haven't had that great a victory, right?
Right.
So there's the show they're doing. The good guys have had so far a pretty good season. Korra and the gang. Hey, look, we've won. We've got some airbenders. We're having a good time. Sisters are friends again. They're setting themselves up for a big fall. Something's coming.
And I actually kind of thought that this might be the episode because it starts with them capturing Korra.
Yeah,
I'm actually a little surprised. I was a little surprised they got her back in this episode.
Yeah, and actually, I love the fact that they got her back because usually it's something like that. You're like, oh, come on, they wouldn't escape like that. That we would put up more of a fight,
and they did,
and they totally did, and they totally worked it all out, and it was an awesome scene, and they ended up, and I loved how it was here. It's like, we failed. Like I loved hearing him say that. I don't know why that gives me such gratification.
These guys are so human. That's why.
Yeah, like God, we failed. Like and it's almost you don't feel bad for him, but you at the same time you're kind of like, oh man, like that felt like that was important.
They went in and they had a plan. They had a goal. They set out to execute that plan, and it didn't.
Messed him up.
They're human people, and I like that.
Right. And what I thought also okay, going along that, if they had constructed this elaborate plan that then failed, and now they're kind of on the run, regrouping, kind of, okay, what's our next move? Right? And Mr. Nose Ring Man is going to have to regroup with them, essentially, or whatever.
Right.
And now they're after them. Now the good guys are now on the attack, right? Mm-hmm. Now we're on the offensive. If Lynn set them out on the offensive, that to me tells me that she is on the good guy's side, right?
You mean Sue?
I'm sorry, Sue is on the good guy's side, right? Because
no,
because now they're off balance.
Unless Sue knows,
unless their failure was part of their plan, but. I hate when plans like, oh, that was all part. And
I don't think that, but maybe because let's
unless Sue really thinks that they're going to overpower.
Let's humor this idea for just a minute. I don't necessarily believe it, but let's say Sue knew that they were going to come into the town, and she was expecting them to be successful, right? But then it failed. Their plan failed. They flee out into the countryside. It would make sense for Sue to say, "Hey, Korra, go out there and make yourself vulnerable because I know that outside of our city's defenses." They'll be able to capture you.
I mean, the thing, too, is that it makes a lot of sense because when does the attack happen? Right after Opal, who, even if she is in on it, still cares about her daughter, leaves. I'm protecting my daughter. She's out of harm's way now. Attack tonight.
Right.
Again, I don't want that to happen.
It's a bit of a stretch, but the pieces are there to fit together if that's what is going on.
But then wouldn't Nose Ring Man and Sue be on the same page?
Yeah, well,
because the Nose Ring guy would say, no, wait, don't do anything. He's trying to hold them off. But now Sue's actions kind of contradict that. I don't know. I'm just on Sue's side, I guess, is why.
No, I totally am, because I love that character. I think she's a really cool addition to this story, and I want her to be good. But I think that so much happened in this episode, and again, I'm banking on, if she is evil, I'm banking on the fact that their plan failed. They weren't expecting that.
And there
was a lot of, like, it's like when you criminals pull off to try to do a heist, and they get all put in by the police station, and okay, we all got to get our story straight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is true.
And that kind of maybe is one of those situations where not everyone has their story straight.
Yeah, that could be. And also, Sue does have a kind of a criminal background a little bit, because she was rolling with some bad guys about the right, timeline-wise, that would kind of make sense too, who had made friends with these people prior to them being imprisoned, and that's how she might be connected.
Did we get a good look at that triad? Do we know for certain that anyone in the Red Lotus was not part of that triad that she was hanging with?
I did not do that.
No one had an eye on their forehead.
No.
Well, we know that.
And they had arms.
I can't remember what they look like, and I'm too lazy to go back and watch the episode, so...
You're lazy.
Viewers, do that for us, please.
I want to go back real fast, though, and talk about what you were mentioning about Zahir and them kind of failing. And I think it's a good balancing act. And you were actually talking about this in an episode, Vince, where you thought you wanted to see Zahir just get punched once or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it is a good point. Even though he failed, they never really got hurt or anything, right? But I think that's, to an extent, maybe intended, right? Because, one, they're the bad guy. We can't... If they're supposed to be imposing and threatening and raising the stakes, and we're supposed to fear them, if we see them too early on getting punched or getting oh, look, they could just be blown away with the wind.
That's why...
But they still have to, in terms of the story, they can't achieve their goal right now, otherwise the story is over.
That's why the finale of Book 1 was so satisfying. When Korra finally learns to airbend and she just delivers that blow and knocks him out the window, we all jumped up and screamed when that happened. Yeah. Because it was a whole season of him having the upper hand. So, yes, I agree with you.
Right, but on the same note, the opposite is also true. I felt that the opposite was kind of happening in the beginning of the season. I felt these anti-Team Avatar was too invincible. Yeah. Every time they were up against anyone, they were knocking out millions of guys at a time. It was why would they ever need to sneak in any place? Why are they being so secretive about they can just literally walk down the street and kill anything they want. And that's what I'm why? But then I realized, okay, they're not invincible in this confrontation where they're actually facing people that know what they're doing. They have to defend themselves, and obviously they failed here because their cover was blown.
I will say that doesn't seem like these four people, they do unnecessary violence. They don't just go out and punch people in the face just because they want to do it. They had a stealth operation. Their goal was not to harm anybody, just to take Korra. They needed Korra for whatever it was. It doesn't seem like
they don't seem evil.
They don't seem like evil. They don't seem like they just want to spread chaos. They seem like they're calculated and they're just doing. They have some overall goal that involves the Avatar. We don't know.
Well, we know, and twice they mentioned they do want to capture versus kill.
Yeah, they never said anything about harming her. Right. Yeah. So, and we do know from the very beginning of the book that they feel justified in their actions. So, and I'm glad that this book has been consistent about how they portrayed.
Yeah, well, I guess one of the big questions too is if this group is called the Red Lotus and there's the White Lotus. So the White Lotus, it's a balance of some sort. Could be the same as like Vatu and Rava. So
white and red.
What? Well, they're not just color scheme. Also, maybe
What
just in
color
terms
scheme?
of
No,
ideals.
just color scheme.
Just color scheme. I mean, it's just so the White Lotus represents something. The Red Lotus represents something. Both of their objectives is has something to do with the Avatar, right? Yeah. So then, I mean,
they have a mission statement.
Yes.
They, when they have their
on their
paperwork, the watermark has something on their logo.
Yeah, it's like the White Lotus goes like, we need to make Korra a sandwich today. And the Red Lotus is like, but no way, she loves pizza. And so they just want to make her some pizza.
They just...
Or maybe they just want to put too much mayo on that sandwich. And ruin it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I know we've talked about it a lot, but I really think Bolin is the heart of the season so far. A lot of the just emotional through lines for the episodes. Yeah. It's Bolin carrying.
He was the center character in this episode.
I agree with you.
He's the one who changes a lot in the episode. He learns a lot. He evolves. He's like,
the hero of the battle.
4 episodes ago when he was with his family. Like, he's gone through so much this season already.
Right.
And even the episode, to an extent, kind of represent the terror within. I mean, it's about his own fears that kind of prevent him from metal bending and stuff and, like, not knowing what he's capable of, and in the end, it's him who kind of saves the day and saves Korra. I don't know. So I think it's really understated how important, as an emotional latching on point to that Bolin is, and how awesome they're doing.
And I think with Opal, this new character, I think half the reason why I like her, which I do really like that character, I think half the reason why I like her is because Bolin is finally like coming to a place of happiness.
And we all want him to succeed. And
after 2 seasons of him being a doofus and failing in all these relationships, he's finally learning, okay, be myself and come into my own and figure out what I'm good at, and things are falling into place for him.
You know what the thing is, though? My biggest fear then is, like I mentioned earlier, a possible huge fall coming, is that it might be personally involving Bolin.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be devastating, and I don't know if they're going to go to that place, but I could see that being a potential for where he's coming, how much of a focus he's been this season.
Right.
For whatever happens, if something happens, for him to kind of really take the brunt of possibly what it is. Yeah. I don't know.
I hope not.
He's going to be dead.
So a few days ago, and I say a few days ago as of this filming, I don't have no idea when this is going online, but a few days ago, Nick and More, an animation blog, they had a report that was saying that they were pulling the rest of Book 3. Over the last couple days, we got clarification from Nickelodeon. They said, okay, we're moving to digital platforms. I just want to open the floor up. How do you guys feel about the last few developments that's been going on? I don't know.
I just really feel like they're kind of messing with the fans. They're kind of screwing with us.
They started off the season just doing heavy advertisements saying that you can't see any of these episodes online or anywhere else. You have to watch them on TV. And now you can't watch them on TV.
And yet they didn't really do much promo for it in the first place.
No, they didn't.
Right. I think a lot of it might have had to do with the leak. Because some people are saying that their plan moving forward was to do Book 3 and 4 from the beginning as all digital in the first place, and then the leak happened, and then Nick was just kind of like, oh, put the episodes on the air, and it was just a big mess. So.
Weird. Is there any other show that you guys have watched that's consistently had episodes leaked? Like, Korra seemed to have them all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's weird, because, I mean, like, you don't see that for, like, Game of Thrones or something like that. I mean, it's just...
If nothing else, it shows that there's so many fans who like the show. You're not going to leak a show no one cares. No one's leaking an episode of Days of Our Lives. Like, no one cares, right?
Right.
Unless it's something people want to watch. So why mess with... Why switch it around then? There's an obvious fan base for it. There's an obvious, desire. Yeah. So...
And I don't know that the majority of people who watch the show are really going to go and watch it online.
Right.
Illegally or whatever.
And even if they are... They're gonna watch it again when it's aired anyway.
Yeah.
So you're.
I don't know why that changes anything.
No, I think a lot of people are upset about the move to digital, but I kind of want, like, if they had announced it and if they had done this correctly and from the beginning, okay, Book 3 and 4 is going to be digital, and they didn't do any of this, and the leak didn't happen. Do you think people would still be as angry? Like, because we're seeing a lot of like TV shows that are exclusive to Netflix and going straight to digital. I mean, I don't know. I mean, really, my problem is just kind of with how the studio handled it.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest... I think that anger, even though it's directed specifically at digital, I think it's completely founded. Whether it's at digital, it's at the studio, which is deservedly so. I mean, ultimately the studio is just money anyway, right? That's all we want. That's their motivator.
Right.
Money and brand image, which essentially is money anyway, right?
Right.
So if they think, oh, this is going to make us more money somehow, and they don't care about fans and stuff, and they're not even trying to even pretend like they care, it's like, well, then we're not going to pretend that we're not angry at you. Like,
Yeah.
Right. For viewer response this week, now that you've had about a week to kind of think about it and let it simmer, how do you guys feel about the move to digital? Just let us know in the comments, get some dialogue going. And why don't we keep that mustache competition going?
Is that a thing?
Yeah, we started it last episode.
did someone submit stuff?
We have like 6 submissions or something.
Why didn't we pick a winner?
I don't know, let's just keep it going for another week.
Okay.
Okay, and
We
the
we can do that.
The Bowl and Mustache Challenge, we're extending it for another week, so keep sending us your entries. Someone send us entries. Awesome.
We're certainly not just lazy and didn't choose a winner. That's not why
You
we're
can
considering.
edit that. Chewy's gonna edit. He can add the winner if he wants.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna. We didn't get that many
And you're not even going to edit this part out where you say you're not gonna...
No, probably not.
The biggest question we all want to know is, if you had to choose between Opal and Asami, who would you choose? You see?
Okay, it's gonna have to be Asami. In that silk nightgown.
That silk nightgown.
I don't
What are
feel
they?
comfortable.
Ooh.
I don't feel comfortable right now.